Hey y'all, today I'm going to be telling you about TravelYou. So let's say that we have this 27-year-old businessman who's an engineer and his name is Michael, and his job is primarily a traveling engineer where he gets sent to different cities by his company to work on different projects across the country. While he's in these different jobs, he likes to explore and he likes to take his time to visit all the cities and sightsee and visit where all the locals go. But the problem is that he doesn't know where the best spots are and he doesn't know his way around town. So he relies on navigation assistants like Google Maps and Apple Maps and ways to do so. But there's a problem with this. While his driving is proficient because of how often he travels to different cities, he still hates taking U-turns and taking back roads. But he finds himself doing this a lot because of how much he screws up whenever he is driving around the cities and um, misses exits and turns and things like that. He would rather just sit through traffic rather than attempting to reroute to back roads that he's not familiar with. And many navigation assistants don't account for this. Sure, whenever you're on Google Maps and you miss a turn, it's going to reroute you if you go straight. But a lot of times it still wants you to take the same route. So it's going to ask you to go into the back roads to get back to where it wants you to go, or it's going to tell you to U-turn so that you can, again, get back to where you want to go, even though you may just want to go straight. So whether it's getting on certain streets, taking back roads, or avoiding U-turns, Michael doesn't like doing a lot of these things, but being from a different city and not really knowing his way around, he doesn't really have a choice but to follow his GPS. Um, Most, like I said before, only account for the efficiency of getting to the place where Michael needs to go. And I see this problem in a lot of the people that I interviewed. For example, Ariel on the left says that she uses Apple Maps, but she doesn't really like how it reroutes you to back roads because she has the same problem as Michael. And Stephanie doesn't really see a difference in all of the major applications out there. Um, she really wants an experience where she can customize things like how frequently you're reminded to perform an action before you're actually supposed to perform that action. With this, the navigation assistant called TravelYou was created to customize your travel experience better through a navigation application. Miss turns a lot, want to be notified in greater advance, we've got a solution for you. So what happens is you download the application and it's going to show you this screen on the left right here, and you can either start the new driver survey, which will lead you to the screen on the right, and it'll ask you all sorts of questions on how your driving habits are, and then in the end, once you start driving, it'll start picking up on things. So let's say if you're driving with your TravelYou on and the application notices that you are really scared of making left turns. And how did they know this? They know this because 6 out of 10 times you avoid your left turns for a right turn. It'll pick up on this, and eventually it'll tailor your driving experiences and your routes so that you can take as little left turns as possible. And even if you decide to just start driving without the survey, it'll still do this and pick up on your different habits. And as you realize your driving habits, and you may think that you want to add specifics, or you realize that what you put wasn't necessarily what was true to you, you can always go back into the settings and change this next time. So just like my problem validation, I went to go out and validate my solution through people who had been interviewed before, and people who weren't in the process in the beginning. And Ty on the left here agrees that this is an application that he would look for whenever he's traveling, especially being from a small town in Mississippi and moving to a big town in the Northeast like Boston. He wants an application that can help him adapt to the life in a bigger city. Then Ariel, who was interviewed before, talked about how she likes how thorough the application is and likes how customizable everything is. So you may be wondering, what's the market like? What's the competitive landscape like for a navigation assistant nowadays? Most people use Waze, Google Maps, and Apple Maps, but they choose one of these three options at the expense of either adaptability and customization, which Waze is very strong in, or user friendliness, which Apple Maps and Google Maps are very strong in. With TravelYou, you kind of get the best of both worlds in a sense that it's very easy to use, but it also values what you want whenever you're driving. With our competitors in mind, our mission in our product is to give a navigation experience that is unlike others. We want to give an experience that learns based on our customers, and we want to be able to adapt based on our customers' needs. But that is with our customers' willingness to give us that information so that we can help them in the long run. So for our total available market and serviceable available market, we have estimated around 160 million people, or the amount of people who regularly use their smartphones as a navigation assistant each month. And then with that, we have a beachhead of roughly 48 million people, or 30% of the US population, who is aged 15 to 30. To help us acquire these customers, we have a three-step plan so that we can slowly branch out to get our name out to a larger amount of people. We would start by running ads, such as the one on the right, so that we can get our name out to the public. Then, with a minimum of 3 months in, we would start social media campaigns and have more social media interaction with customers so that we can be responsive to questions no matter how silly or serious the questions are. Then 6 months in, we can look more into maybe doing endorsements or promotions with certain influencers to test different markets based on promotional codes given to influencers and their followers. So looking into all of this information, our initial customers are mainly people who are young, people who are tech savvy, and people who are risk takers. These are people who constantly travel and want a better way to customize their experience to what they like. In terms of revenue, we have three different plans to offer to our customers. The first one would be free, but with ads, and then the second one would be a single user plan for 99 cents a month, and the third plan would be a 5 people family and friends plan for $3.99 a month. And when you take these market percentages and multiply it by the profit and the 48 million people that we found in our beachheads before, this creates a market of roughly $34 million. And with this market, we plan to break even with roughly 2,780,000 customers in the first 24 months of operations. This is why for our proposal we are asking for $12 million. This would help us cover all of our startup costs and all of the projected costs that we would incur before break even, so that we can do market research at a faster rate and further expand our product into different areas such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So I'm the founder. My name is Nguyen, and I'm a junior double major in accounting and management with a minor in business analytics. I use navigation assistance at least once a week in my commute around New Orleans, so I'm very adamant about having a navigation assistant that really works for me. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please email us at sqnguyen@my.loino.edu.